Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand Fan Forum. It's Manchester United 1, Bournemouth 0 and we are 1 point away from Champions League football. I cannot wait. I would probably say I'm 95% certain that Manchester United are going to get Champions League football. It's nearly on the way. Liverpool stumbled at Anfield, 1-1 for them, which means 1 point for Man United to get top 4. Europa League ball, we've had you in the studio for too long now. We're going to say goodbye to that. And Faz, what are you going to introduce for us?
These are the champions.
Everyone's going to say,
that
how
was
the standards
beautiful,
have fallen. Look, I've had to deal with Europa League football. It feels for way too long now, and I just cannot wait to get back to Champions League nights at Old Trafford. Yes, people say you shouldn't celebrate top 4, but I'm going to celebrate it because it means attracting better players in the summer. It means more money. It just means better standard of football next year as well at Old Trafford, which is what everybody wants. So, Champions League ball, put that here, put that to rest. And also, if you've not noticed already, we have all got the kits on again. I mean, retro football kits have really sorted us out again. I'm actually wearing the same kit that Roy Keane started on Vieira in the tunnel. We all remember that clip. Go and look it up if you've not seen it. If you've not seen it, you're not a United fan. I love that clip, and I'm wearing that kit. You've got Faz in his little...
I've got my Mickey feeling on today.
Yeah.
He's on his
training,
little...
yeah.
The only thing that's missing is the shorts.
I'm not going to show them what's below the waist.
Mickey feeling look.
But yeah.
And we also have Kev in... I'm pretty sure we won a...
This is making me feel old, man. Is this classed as a retro shirt?
That reminds me of Ibrahimovic.
How old am I, man?
It reminds me of Ibrahimovic, that kit. It really does. And then we've got Ricky sporting the grey, and that's not because he's old. Sorry, Ricky. I knew you could take that joke. But no, yeah. I mean, look at the kits that we've got going on, and they are provided by Retro Football Kits, and you can go and get them at retrofootballkits.co.uk. And like last time, they have 10% off site-wide anyway, but with the code TUS10, you can get an extra 10%, which basically works out to 20% off. I'm wearing the Keane kit. The one last week, the Van Persie one, was brilliant. All these kits looking fabulous. So, yeah, go over there and have a look. There's some really good deals on there. And all the kits are 100% genuine, so you are going to be getting 100% genuine kits. It's definitely worth going over and looking at, so make sure you head off across to there. But, as I said, the Champions League ball is back. We are on our way to Champions League football. 2 games to get it in. And what did you say before, Faz? If we don't win them in them 2 games...
I said if Ten Hag can't get 1 point in 2 games, then I don't think he's in the correct job, really. It's just as simple as I can put it. It's Chelsea, it's Fulham. Both of them at home. We should be able to secure,
The chat is flooding me. The chat is flooding me with Dave saves, and I do have to say congratulations to David De Gea he has actually won the Golden Glove.
Golden Glove, yeah.
I have to say, I do think it's a defensive effort.
Please
it's not all
stop
just
it.
down to one person.
No, please. Please, because there's no such thing as golden sock. There's no such thing as golden shorts. Nothing. Golden glove.
Yeah, and it's
only
very well
one
done.
person on the pitch wears it.
Yeah, I get that, but it is a good defensive effort.
You can't tell.
I've just said well done.
No. But the fact that you mentioned
defence. So it's nothing to do with the defence?
No, it's not.
So Golden Glove is nothing to do with the defence?
Because Benzema won the Ballon d'Or because of Benzema.
Give your head a wobble. So it's nothing to do with the defence.
No.
The defence is a big part.
Defence is defence, but please.
Give your head a wobble, mate.
So who do you want to give Ballon d'Or shares to because of Benzema won the Ballon d'Or?
So do you know what? We'll just take the defence out and put David De Gea in net all season and see how we do then. Come on.
David did make saves.
Yeah, and he's brilliant. Well done to him. And he's made some great saves, and today he was brilliant.
The same defence got 7 against Liverpool, 6 against Man City.
Team game.
I'm sure if David De Gea stands up when he receives his trophy or whatever it is he gets, you know what he's going to say, don't you?
And the same way that Benzema, when he got that award, he will thank the players playing around him.
But they don't give the award to the defence, though.
He's not scoring goals.
They don't give the award to the front line. They give it to an individual. So let's because I know David is sensitive. It's a sensitive subject.
I'm happy.
Please.
I put him in my fantasy team this week. If you're not seeing the United Stand Twitter, I have bench boosted this week, and I put David De Gea in my fantasy team. No agendas here. Game against Bournemouth, game against Chelsea. It's looking good for me. Clean sheet now. Clean sheet at Old Trafford against Chelsea. Brilliant. Good little move from me. There's no agendas here. I thought he played well today. And as just said, congratulations for the Golden Glove. I do think as a whole it's a defensive effort, but well done. And everyone in the chat getting that in as well. Mark's obviously sent everyone across. Welcome, everybody. We are on the fan forum, and Champions League football, I've got the ball here, is well underway. I'm throwing the conversation over to Ricky, actually, with that one. Ricky, are you just happy to get the 3 points over the line?
Absolutely over the moon, yeah. It's, look, there is a little bit to do yet. Stranger things have happened in football, so I won't be getting the champagne corks out of the bottles tonight. I think we've got to get a point out of 2 games. They'll do their job at... Well, I'm saying they'll do their job at Southampton. They might not have a job to do. If we get a point against Chelsea, it's done before they play. So we will do it. I'm sure we'll do it, but it's not time to pop the champagne bottles just yet.
Yeah, you're always very cautious, Ricky. But Kev, you're going to be having a glass of red tonight, aren't you? Celebrating.
I would have been anyway, regardless of whether United made something anyway. But I think it's a funny one. I mean, you try and read the room social media-wise. It's very hard, when you see United fans, especially the performance that Manchester City put in this week. And I think a lot of us have probably realised how many years behind we actually are in terms of trying to catch up with what Manchester City are doing. I don't think the sale of the club is obviously not running as smoothly as what some of us would have thought, which is quite worrying because this will hinder Ten Hag and what he wants to do next season. The first step of this was getting Champions League football. We nearly have it because the big thing with that is it attracts a different breed of players. Some players, fair enough, will not want to compete in the Europa League. We have had that in the past, and now if we can secure Champions League, it opens the door to more possibilities, a better standard of football. Players will want to come to Manchester United because they're in the Champions League. I don't think we can rely on history as much anymore at Manchester United. A lot of players would have looked at United and looked at what they did in the past. That's in the past. We need to look at the future now. It's a major step, really, for the rebuild of Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag. So, yeah, red wine tonight, definitely.
Definitely. A couple of super chats already flying in. Thank you everyone for your contributions. Jaycon says, good sub, bringing on Weg, did more than Martial did all game. Sancho really needs to pull his finger out, but a win is a win. A win is a win, exactly. And member for 27 months, Sanjay says, Beth, please. Still not signed the contract, has he? Yeah, anyway, we'll move on from here. And we've also got another super chat in that I just took a picture of before, actually, that I wanted to read out for you. Coming up for you now, 1 second, and it is from International says, oh no, it's just a little super chat from International 2675. Thank you for your super chat. But Faz, let's move on to the actual game. It wasn't pretty, was it?
No.
I mean, we were watching it here together, and on the edge of our seats a couple of times, especially in the last 10 minutes. Man United just don't seem to be able to kill off games for the life of them at all. So many just low-scoring games. Does that need to improve realistically, or are you just happy to get the points over the line?
Look, always happy that we got the 3 points. It's always important because the mood would have been totally different if that was a draw. But it is important to ask that, like for like, between Manchester United and Bournemouth, we have the better players. The players that we have, they're more creative, they're more established. Some of them have Champions Leagues and etc. Some of them have Europa Leagues. Why can we not be able to be more decisive going forward? Why is our decision making in certain phases of play looking like we're a mid-table team? Not even that, looking like we're just a newly promoted team into the Premier League. I think obviously, I'm sure Ricky's going to bring up certain passes from Bruno, certain passes from other people, certain ways certain players receive the ball. It's very unorthodox for a Manchester United player. Very. You have to be able to break teams down if they're a low block, and you have to be able to counter them when you have the chance. And we just don't. It's either the ball is over here or under here in a corner. We can't beat the first man. Through on goal, Anthony doesn't use his right foot when he should be. It's all just little things that add up.
Build up, yeah.
And overall, you think to yourself, well, what is the how is the manager making them want to play, and why are they not doing that on the pitch? Because it is Bournemouth. Bournemouth have, I think, at home recent times. I think Chelsea gave them 3 goals at home or something like that. I think was it West Ham or someone else as well gave them a couple of goals at home. So it's not like they don't concede goals. They've conceded 69 goals overall throughout the season. So they're a high conceding team. We could have scored more goals today. I just don't understand why. Shooting on target. Except
These
for that
long
Bruno
shots are ridiculous, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. But except for that Bruno effort, which Neto made a really good save. Again, we're not testing the keeper as much. Sancho as well, not trying to shoot as much. It's just the only bit of entertainment, in all honesty, and you want to use the word entertainment, is I got when Garnacho came on the pitch. I really felt like this is going to be some Manchester United football where we're going to pin the fullbacks, back. They're not going to be comfortable with going forward. They're not going to want to push higher up on the pitch. I don't know why we're not getting that feeling when Anthony and Sancho's on the pitch. Anthony at times, but with Sancho not as much. Martial again, not able to create things. I know me and Ricky had a little bit conversation, you know, when we were watching the game, but even top class strikers, they're able to make keepers work from thin air. They'll make something happen from thin air. They'll take a shot, they'll create a chance, they'll run through on goal and do something. We just can't do it.
Well, I mean, yeah, we are going to get onto a lot of them topics that you were just speaking about. Them long shots really were frustrating me, and they keep frustrating me. It's absolutely stupid. The chance of them going in, half the time we're just hitting them straight over the bar. It's just an absolute waste. John says United have a set-piece issue. I mean, Kev, we're going to get to Ricky because I know he has a lot to say about the way we move the ball in general. But Kev just spoke about Martial there. Obviously, you know, I saw Harry Kane. I know they got beat 3-1 off Brentford, but again, he was brilliant. You kind of saw the level that we need. Martial did seem a little bit disappointed to get subbed off, and I honestly did think it was a little bit harsh. Do you think that's Ten Hag kind of resting him, or do you think it's because he did want Weghorst on that was going to put a little bit more work in when it came to pressing, and it actually did turn out quite well, didn't it?
Yeah, because you read into the body language of Martial as he comes off, and I think he was probably like us as supporters watching, thinking, all right, is he injured? You can tell by his face that he's clearly not injured. You know, that is not an issue. He's almost bemused as he walks off the field, and he's kind of looking over as if to say, me, am I coming off? Now, you can look at it and you think, listen, we've got a huge game, an FA Cup final. Obviously, we've got 2 Premier League games left to secure Champions League qualification, then a huge game against Manchester City in the FA Cup final. Is Ten Hag looking at it and thinking, I need to wrap this guy up in cotton wool because literally he's made of glass? I don't know. It was far too early, really, to make that call. What is it, the 56th minute, was it, around that mark? Yeah. You know, you've got a big chunk of the game left, and the game wasn't, you know, if it's 2-0, I can understand that. And in hindsight, looking back now, we have won it 1-0, but we don't do it the easy way, do we, at all? And I think the annoying thing is, any other season with Champions League qualification that we are so close to now, at the end of the season, you would be looking at these games and going, it's all about ticking them off, all about the 3 points, don't care about the performance. The team that I just mentioned, then Manchester City in this cup final, we're not taking any momentum towards the end of the season, and that's where it flips, because I want to see performances. And, you know, yes, I want the 3 points, but are we taking anything into this cup final, which we have got to be 100% at the races? Every single player is going to be at it, and at the minute, that is the worry. Although, listen, you know, it's great. This would have been Ten Hag's main priority for this season, would have been Champions League football. Yeah. So the Carabao Cup was a bonus, an FA Cup final, but we know the way Manchester City are going at the minute, don't we? And it could potentially, you know, be leading on to a treble, which, as a United fan, you do not want to see.
Well, we don't look fluid. We don't look, you know, dangerous. I saw a chat there saying we're not creating enough high-quality chances, and that's absolutely dead on. And Ricky, you were speaking about this. I wanted to let you come in here because you were explaining, you know, the situation. Obviously, we know Martial. I love Martial as a football player, but we know he's not good enough to be the number 9 of, like, you know, a Premier League winning side. It's just not going to happen. But I don't like blame going on to players because, you know, well, Martial's not getting enough shots in. Well, we're not creating enough chances. And you had a very kind of good, well, I don't know if necessarily, you know, people can look at it different ways, but how did you want to explain it?
I think you might be talking about a particular incident, or you might be thinking of a particular incident where Bruno didn't pass the ball quickly enough. And this is happening time and time again. And what people don't see these things when you don't end up giving the ball away and you pick a different pass. And it was a little moment when I said, just give the ball. When you receive the ball or you get hold of the ball, and this was just inside their half, as you are controlling the ball, you're pretty stationary. If you've got a teammate next to you, and it was virtually next to him, about as far as Faz is or you are from me, Sancho starts running. Just put in fact, I can turn the clock back to last week here and show you the difference of a player who understands. He starts running, just put the ball in front of him 4 or 5 yards, and then we're onto them, and then we're going to cause danger. Bruno kept hold of the ball, so Sancho runs off, the ball's not in front of him, he just runs off for no reason, and then Bruno passed the ball out to the wing. He didn't give the ball away, so people will just think, oh, it's okay. If I can roll the clock back to last week, our first goal against them last week, Sancho received the ball in a similar position on the halfway line. Bruno was 4 yards away from him, and he just rolled it in front of him. Bruno's on the move. So you're on the move, you start moving.
It was a different scenario.
It was slightly, yeah, but
it was a much harder pass because Bruno had just received a hospital pass from Sancho.
No two scenarios, Beth, are exactly the same.
They were much different, I think.
Well, they were similar. They were similar in as much as you've got a player next to you moving and you choose not to pass it to him, or you choose to pass it to him.
He was struggling to control the ball because Sancho had just given him a hospital pass. That's why he didn't get it to him in time.
By the time he had the... It's not why he didn't. He wasn't even attempted to pass it to him. He chose not to pass it. He chose not to pass it.
Top-level footballers can make a bad pass look like a good pass.
Yeah, you've got to... Just, Beth, just trust me, please. We need our players to move the ball more quickly. And I used to bang on about this when we had Juan Mata abused. Juan Mata was an absolute joy to watch. Kill it, pass it, kill it, pass it, kill it, pass it. Get it moving, keep the ball moving.
We can't just single out Fernandes.
I
mean, Sancho, Anthony, in the final third, the decision-making was terrible.
I just think... Let's put it this way. We've probably been saying now for 2 to 3 years, maybe more, that we're just not playing well enough, we're not creating enough chances. No matter how many players we change around. I mean, Anthony's a new player effectively. We're still not scoring any goals, are we? Do you know what I mean? That we're just not playing fluidly enough.
I agree with that.
The thing is,
and it's been going on for years. Bruno's a mainstay in the team over all that time. Look, I don't just want to make it about Bruno, because today Anthony was at fault numerous times. Weghorst, by the way, when he come on, he was a breath of fresh air. The way he took that ball down, and he remembers that Anthony's there, because he's not looking at Anthony, and he plays the ball in front of Anthony. And look, I'm not being funny. Anthony doesn't look fast enough.
Ricky, Blair said we haven't played well for 8 years, but all them years Shaw's been there too. You can make it work for different players.
Anthony doesn't look fast enough.
He doesn't, does he?
Are you joking? You love Sancho.
Back.
Sancho has no pace.
No, I get that. Look.
I think
Anthony's pace-wise, Anthony looks set up for the Premier League.
I'm talking about genuinely pacey players. When you knock the ball in front of them, who will keep the ball in front of them.
Sancho can't do that.
No, I'm not saying he can, but he's not that type of player. But Anthony, people talk about his pace, but he's not fast enough.
He is.
When does he go past people?
Last game, he shoved someone off him and ran past him.
He did. He needs to do it more often. It's all right saying
so he can do it, and he is fast.
I've seen him do it multiple
Spurs
times.
Game at home.
I've seen him do it multiple times.
Spurs game at home.
Rick, look, I agree with you completely. We need to move the ball quicker, and I agree Bruno had a really poor game today. I agree with that, and we do need to move the ball quicker. But singling out certain scenarios, it's not a fair comparison.
That's a fair show. That's a fair show.
But
I think the issue, right?
All you can do when you're trying to point out what you want your team to do better, you can only pick on certain issues, can't you? You can only pick on certain instances. You know, I can't immediately remember every incident and say, should have done this, should have that, should have done that. So you remember particular incidents. Everybody does that. Like you just remembered an incident, or maybe 2 incidents, where Anthony's gone past a player quickly. But come on, how many times in a game does Anthony look like he can go past his fullback? I know you can argue the same against Sancho, but Sancho's a different type of player.
He's not...
No, I know. Sancho's not as fast. I get that. But he's a player who looks like he has got pace, and he doesn't try to go past that player. Doesn't try it off, and nowhere near enough. Like, I don't know, 9 times out of 10 or something, he just checks back and passes it when he's got the opportunity to go past someone.
I think Anthony could potentially do it more, but I think he's definitely not the winger to worry about, I tell you that. I think he's improving, and I think, today wasn't his best game, it was no one's best game, but he definitely looks like he has adds more danger to the front line than certain other players in that front line, in my opinion, which we will get onto. But, I mean, Kev, you wanted to comment on something?
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, I think one of the main issues at Manchester United at the minute, and I think we've been kind of labelled with this for years, I thought we might have seen it implemented by now, is the Erik ten Hag way of football. I know these things can take time, but I do sit and I look after a performance like that. Listen, I'm happy, 1-0, we've got the 3 points, but I'm like, what is Manchester United's identity and style of football? Because I honestly couldn't tell, are we a counter-attacking team? Are we an attacking team? Do we play out from the back? I really, sometimes I just look and I'm worried because teams like Brighton have an identity, Newcastle are getting that now under Eddie Howe. And I'm not slagging Ten Hag off, I'm obviously trust the process and all this, and we'll give it time. I just thought it might have come, this is his first season, which has been a great season, don't get me wrong, but again, as an identity, I don't really understand what United are really about.
Well, there's multiple things. He obviously wanted to play out from the back. We saw that at the start of the season. We can't do it because we don't have the profile in goal to do so, and that's me not taking a dig, it's true.
But some teams don't have the personnel to do it, but they still try and do it, don't they?
Yeah, but we tried to do it and we've conceded too many goals that way, so we've cut it out. Then up front, we don't have a good enough striker to say if you want to put the ball in the box and do certain things, you don't have a good enough striker to get in there, kind of win them headers. In midfield, I mean, I do really like Casemiro, Bruno and Eriksen, but we've not got that player that can play it out from the back and, be that box-to-box midfielder that can really take it out and support De Gea and support the defence in taking it out from the back. So therefore we can't play possessions-based football. There's definitely certain profiles missing, which I think we have to go and get in the summer, that he's going to improve this Eric Ten Hag's side, but time will tell. I mean, Faz, we spoke about Sancho, and I'm going to get onto him. Actually, you know what? First of all, we'll speak about Casemiro's goal, because what a brilliant goal that is. Casemiro's not kind of been the same player, really, for ever since he came back from that suspension. But today, I thought he played really, really well, and that goal was just class, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was class. I mean, Eriksen, fantastic weighted ball. That's what Eriksen can do, really. He'll be having a quiet game, a not so productive game, and then boom, he'll find you that one pass. But then again, the pass took a big deflection as well, a big touch from the opposition player, and he managed to turn his body midway and get the goal. And it's one of those things where you're very thankful that he actually caught the ball well and he went in, because if it didn't, it would have been a draw. But I think one thing is for certain is our midfield is too old. We need injection of fresh, energetic, creative personnel, because off the bench there's no one. At least on the wing, I can say there's Pellistri, there's Garnacho, at least. But in midfield, we don't have no creativity except for Bruno, Eriksen and Casemiro. That is it. And that is very worrying, considering we are going into Champions League and all of these guys will be, 30 plus now? Bruno, Eriksen, Casemiro, they're all going to be 30 plus. So I think it's vital that we get someone young, that we get someone energetic, someone creative, someone who's a risk taker, as well. Someone who can play numerous different positions. Someone like a Camavinga, someone like, just using him as a name, by the way, or a Caicedo would be fantastic to go and get for next season. Someone who can learn off these guys and be our next generation player. But just touching on, the forward line as well. Ricky used to mention a point, 1.6. And Sancho is one of the most creative players that we could have asked for to be in our squad. He's not creative at the moment, but we know that's his profile. Anthony's a creative player, again, he scores a lot himself, and Martial is supposed to be the glue that stitches everything together. It's very surprising how we barely looked like we were going to score today, and none of them had an involvement in the goal. It's very interesting, because the argument is without Rashford, we will create more. The argument was Rashford has just done nothing but score goals, but he doesn't create. But today is a very good example against a side that is such high conceding side, that the most creative players and the glue had no involvement in the goal. Zilch. They didn't even. Martial obviously had a little shot and whatever, it went past. So it's I'm glad that I can use this as an example, because people used to get onto me for Rashford. But now you see how vital a player like Rashford can be to your side. He might not create for other people.
He does create for other people, though. He does. It's a misconception.
He might not, for argument's sake, I'm saying. For argument's sake, he might not create for other people. But there are certain type of players that you leave on the pitch because they will make something happen in a snap of a finger on the 89th minute. And that's what Marcus Rashford can do. And that's why he is Marcus Rashford, and Sancho, and Anthony's Anthony. That's what it is. And, just so you know, just wanted to point that out to people.
Just so you know as well, because people say this about Rashford quite a lot. Rashford has more assists than Anthony and Sancho this season. But apparently he's, doesn't pass to anyone, or he's got his faults, absolutely. But this kind of, I don't get why some people think, and Ricky can come in on this, why he's not so important. And I will go to you, Ricky, but a super chat in from Casemiro. Sorry, a super chat in from United all the way. Casemiro having 13 goals and assists despite missing 9 games shows how much we are struggling with our creativity. Casemiro is supposed to be a pure centre defence midfielder, and he's doing too much compared to his role at Real Madrid. And then legendary villain says, Bruno is terrible calm. Odegaard is how to play that calm position. Bruno is limited on the ball and can't move with it. Best says David needs to leave, but Fernandes is awful. Interesting. I mean, sure, Ricky will agree with you on that one. Easy writing, obsession with tactics these days, just attack. If only it was that simple. And we've got another one saying, Ricky is very right about Anthony. He's very poor. And then Neo says, Ricky, what are you going on about? Bruno gives more one-touches than the entire Man U squad. And then Darren Mullaney says, this type of football you're talking about must be shown and practiced regular in training. And then we've got another one from International saying, United won't be serious title contenders with Bruno as a 10. And then Neo also says, when one team parks the bus, it's nearly impossible to break through. You have to shoot from the outside. I think there's different ways we can do it, but Ricky, do you want to come in?
Yeah, one the thing about what I've said about Marcus Rashford, can't remember exactly if we ever spoke about creativity. One thing I definitely said numerous times, that we score 1.6 goals a game, and whether he's playing or not, we will score 1.6 goals a game. He didn't play away at Forest, we won 2-0. He didn't play at home to Wolves, we won 2-0. Didn't play today, we won 1-0. The last 2 games he did play, we got beat at Brighton 1-0, we got beat at West Ham 1-0. But forget them, because it's forget those defeats, because it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And we've scored 5 goals in the 3 games that he missed, which is ever so slightly, only slightly, but it's slightly over 1.6 goals a game. We are still scoring, as like I said we would, just as many goals. Whoever's creating them, wherever they come from, and I mentioned this earlier, we're that poor at creating chances and scoring goals that we will still get that amount of goals, no matter who gets them. If you look at the 5 goal scorers in the 3 games that he's missed, Anthony scored 1, Dalot scored 1, Casemiro scored 1, Garnacho scored 1, Martial scored 1, 5 different goal scorers. If he doesn't play for the next 3 games, I will put money. Oh, we haven't got 3 left. We've got 2. Oh, we've got 3. Actually, I won't include the cup final because we only talk about league games anyway. You know, when you look at your average for the season, you look at league games. We've got 2 league games left. I'll be surprised. Well, he might play. If he doesn't play, I bet you we score 3 goals over those 2 games. And I don't care about you saying who's going to create them or who's not creating them. And if he plays, he creates them. Forever and a day, we've been scoring 1.6 goals a game, and we're still scoring 1.6 goals a game when he doesn't play.
We know this point because we've spoken about it quite a lot, but the point is I think we all agree that Rashford's a really important piece of the squad and has provided some really important goals to win us certain games this season.
If this went on for a long period, Beth, I know 3 games is nothing, it's absolutely nothing. If that went on for a long period, would you then accept that it doesn't matter whether he plays or not? Do you, Kev, do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, yeah.
I get what you're saying, and like I've said, I don't think he should be undroppable. I think that's ridiculous, and it does seem like it's getting that way, that he is undroppable, and I don't think he should be. Like the other day when he didn't have a good game, like, there is certain games where you could, if you wanted to switch it up, you can play different players, but you've got to appreciate what he's done this season. Like, he's the top goal scorer.
Yeah, he's scored a lot of goals. He has scored a lot of goals.
And he's got some good assists as well.
He has, but I don't believe he plays well enough. I believe he's one of the reasons that we don't play good enough football, keeping possession of the ball and moving the ball around the team. I think we do that better when he's not there. And I also think Bruno's one of the faults with that. I really do. And I think next season, we'll probably, I don't know. I mean, what will we sign? We probably need a striker. I won't disagree with that.
I'm so confused.
We need a striker, but he's already bought he's already spent 90 million on Anthony. If we start next season with Harry Kane at number 9 and we've got Anthony on the right wing, Rashford on the left wing and Bruno in midfield, I'll be very surprised if we score more than that 1.6 goals a game that we're getting already. I'll be very, very surprised.
Bruno, who creates most chances in the league?
I don't care, Beth. We're not keeping the ball well enough.
Having a proper number 9 is going to make a huge difference.
You're talking about the wrong things. You're talking about, you've just mentioned how many assists Rashford's got. You're talking about how many chances Bruno's made. I'm talking about the whole team passing the ball around better. That's what I'm talking about.
So how can our 2 best players? Sorry, not our 2 best players. No, not that. How can our men? How
Shaw
can,
and
no, that's. I said it wrong. I said how can you don't like them the most, I assume, and you don't want them in the team. How can them 2 individuals who have contributed to the most goals for Man United this season, that wins games, how is that correlation? So the best contributors for goals and assists that win us games in the team are somehow the 2 that are the problem. It doesn't function in my brain. I get your point that we need to play better football. I completely get that. I think you can do that with both them players. I think you can.
How good was our passing today?
In the first half, excellent, but it broke. It always goes. In the first half, I
definitely don't think it was excellent.
You didn't turn up till half an hour ago.
No, I was watching it on my phone. I was watching it on my phone. But still, even in the second half, it wasn't that good.
No, I just said that, yeah.
With Weghorst, who plays in the 10, who's passing his
Weghorst did well when he come on, and he passed it well. He passed it well numerous times.
But this is the thing. You say that the passing was excellent. I actually don't think it was excellent. I was watching the game. I watched Casemiro's goal.
It was excellent in the first half. It was excellent in the first half for long. I'm not saying all the time. Obviously, some of them go wrong, and generally it was Bruno that made it go wrong. By the way,
yeah.
But you know, in the first half, our passing was good. We really kept them under pressure for long periods.
How come our creativity wasn't there if the passing was good? How come the front line that's supposed to be so creative and create things, they didn't create much? The only creation really was from Eriksen to Casemiro.
That wasn't really a creation when the
he just created
the defenders got it. Yeah.
Look,
still put the ball in the right area.
At the end of the day, you need to play like that on a regular basis. And I've said this many, many times. I prefer us to play in a certain way. I've got a team in my mind that I would have as my favourite team. And if that particular team plays, and today we played quite well in the first half, it doesn't mean that in one game straight away it's going to work. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that one game straight away it's going to work. It doesn't mean, you know, we play with the same, like we just got beat 1-0 at Brighton and got beat 1-0 at West Ham. We've come from 2-0 up against Spurs and drawn 2-2. So whatever the team is, it's not going great. So if you just change the team completely one day,
can we hear Ricky starting 11?
It won't go great straight away.
Just out of interest, can we hear you starting 11? Yeah. I think it's going to be Martial, Weghorst and Sancho as the front 3. Anyway, go on. What is your ideal starting 11?
Go on, nail it down, Ricky. De Gea or Butland, are you going to throw in?
Scott McTominay. Surely it's not.
Come on, you must have this.
You want me to put that? I could name it for you now.
No, go on then, you do it.
We'll save it until the end of the show.
De Gea, Dalot.
No, but the fact that he needs to think. It's
De Gea, Dalot, Lindelof, probably Varane, Shaw. Even though you're not a fan of Varane at the moment.
Are we talking about if everybody's fit here, or are we talking about...
Oh, sorry. We're talking if everyone's fit. Okay, it's De Gea, Dalot, Lindelof, Martinez, Shaw.
Correct.
Casemiro.
Correct.
McTominay.
Yeah.
Eriksen.
Yeah.
Sancho on the right.
Yeah.
Weghorst up front. Martial on the left.
Bang on!
I knew that's what it'd be.
Oh God, my head hurts.
Ricky rates Lindelof over Varane, everyone, by the way.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, that's the slowest front line in the history of Premier League.
Here we go. Speed. Here we go.
Slowest front line.
You've called Anthony out for having no speed. Anyway, we'll lay off you now.
I didn't call him out for having no speed. I'm trying to explain that he looks fast and people talk about him being fast, but he never seems to go past anybody, or very rarely.
We'll lay off you now, Ricky. We'll lay off.
Very rarely.
But to be fair, Lindelof has been brilliant recently. We'll circle back to that. Lindelof has been excellent. But careful, comes to you. Yeah. Do you know what? Sancho was getting a lot of criticism by Man United fans, shirking tackles again, not going into 50-50s again, not creating any excitement again, it felt like. I mean, we're all waiting every week for this Dortmund Sancho to come out. Garnacho came on and kind of showed that acceleration and excitement that you want to see from a winger. How do you see this situation going? Are you happy with his performances?
I've sat here many weeks, haven't I? And I've said We want to see the Sancho from Dortmund. Hopefully it will come with time. And I'm not saying it as a fickle fan or anything, but I mean, the performances recently, when you look at somebody like Garnacho, who comes on and within 30 seconds does something that I didn't really see from Jadon Sancho today, which was knocking the ball past the defender, head down to the byline, cuts the ball back. And then I'm like, am I being a bit harsh on the likes of Anthony and Sancho? You know, is this something they're being coached? Which, again, I would not really understand that. You know, how many instances today did Anthony get the ball and you're like, go on, and he cuts back and everything breaks down. So are they being coached? Is this a game plan? Which the game plan gets thrown out anyway, because when Garnacho comes on, he goes against the grain. Head down, bang, you know, it's direct, it's great, it's unpredictable, it's great to see. But Sancho, I'm starting to worry. I don't want to make any more excuses for him. We're coming towards the end of the season. And for me, you know, if this was a kind of audition, I think Ten Hag should be saying to these kind of players, you know, you've got now until the end of the season. We've got a massive cup final coming up, but, you know, do you want to be in the team for next season? Do you want to be part of it? You know, and if I was a manager, I need to start seeing it on the field. You know, Manchester United, Ten Hag has looked after this guy. He's given him time off. He's let him go away, rehabilitate, whatever it was, issues that he had. He's come back. I do like him as a footballer, but there comes a time when you have to say, when are we going to start seeing it? Because it is not happening. It's
conviction that I see lacking. I want to see some conviction. I want to see some anger. I want to see a tackle. Like, I've just seen a chat in here, which I think is a really good chat, actually, from Lance Pele saying, Sancho should watch clips of Bernardo Silva and Grealish to learn how to be a good slow winger. You can be that type of player. But one thing I would say is, Bernardo Silva and Grealish are brilliant defensively. They track back. They do everything to go and help the team. They make crunching tackles. They make clearances off the line. Sancho, you can't be slow and weak and avoiding 50-50s. It's not going to look good in the eyes of the fans.
You can't pull out challenges full stop in football.
There is stuff there with Sancho. Like, he does make some really good key passes, and he could be that player. But I don't think he's taking the right steps to reach the levels that he could be anyway. But Ricky, I feel like you would disagree, because you said, you know, you're a big fan of Sancho.
I'm a big fan of Sancho. I like the way he plays with his head up and looks for passes. I think he plays some good passes into the box today. When we were speaking earlier, when I said about Anthony not being fast enough, and obviously you all jumped on me saying Sancho's not fast, but I don't believe. You know, I know he's not fast, so he plays. I mean, I don't think Grealish is fast. You just mentioned Grealish is probably faster than Sancho, but it's about holding the ball and carrying it into the right space and looking for the right pass. And then also, if you watch City, by the way, they recirculate the ball and recirculate the ball and recirculate the ball. They show lots and lots of patience.
We don't have that patience.
So Grealish, probably 20 times in a match gets a defender or two up against him, so he checks back and he gives it back to the fullback. And yet what we're saying is, wow, why doesn't our winger take him on? Do you know what I mean? And yet we're eulogising about how good Grealish is, and Grealish is fantastic. It's about taking the right moment. When it's there, if you're one-on-one, maybe take somebody on. If it's one against two, just check back, recirculate the ball. But we're recirculating the ball, and I'd like to watch it back. We'd probably recirculate the ball to Bruno, and he might have a shot from distance rather than him recirculating it around the other side of the field. We need to recirculate it around the field, and I don't care if the winger passes it to his fullback 10 times out of 10 if we don't give the ball away, and so long as the fullback then gives it to a player in the middle who also doesn't give the ball away, and just keep moving it around and try and drag the opposition around. This is how City play. Now then, I'm not saying for 1 minute that he's as good as Grealish, but that's the style of player that he is. He's not a fast player who's going to hair past the fullback, but he looks balanced. He looks like he's going to try and take somebody on, and if he doesn't, he just checks back and passes it. And that's, you know, I'm happy with that. I
mean, just to update everyone, I'm a little bit late on this, but Forest are beating Arsenal 1-0, and if Forest win that game, that means they stay up as well. We had Zayn Miassi in the chat as well.
Don't say that fast. We want Arsenal still to have a chance of winning the league, don't we?
They're not going to win it now.
They're not going to win it.
I know.
No chance.
Zayn Miassi put a shocked face in. Zayn. 1 trophy for Man United, 0 trophies for Arsenal, and both probably going to get in the
another
top
final
4.
as well for Manchester United.
But yeah, Arsenal have had the better season, apparently.
Just wanted to say on Jadon Sancho, I think one of the things that we just don't speak on enough is his age. He's still very young. There's loads more to learn, and there's loads more for him to experience in football, right? He's at the biggest club in the world, and I'm sure he's understanding enough that the club have invested a whole load of money into him, not just his transfer, but his salary as well.
The worry is, Faz, though, this is not a Ten Hag didn't bring him to Manchester United, and that's where I look at it and think, is he going to look and think...
But look, are we in a position where we can be ruthless like Pep when he let go of Aguero when Aguero was 30? He let go of keepers, he let go of fullbacks. We're not that ruthless stage yet. Hopefully, if the new owners come in and we have that sort of organisation, we can be ruthless. When a manager comes into an organisation, he has a responsibility to bring in new players, but also to protect and develop certain assets that the club already has. Similar thing Poch will probably have to do with Chelsea, because Todd is not going to go and sell Mudryk and all of these other players that he's brought in. These are certain part and parcel of your job. And I think part and parcel of Ten Hag's job is to see if he can spend another season with Jadon Sancho and bring something out. If he can't, then okay. After the next season, sell him.
For me personally, I have more than enough understanding that he's a young player, that he's going to make mistakes, and he's not always going to have a perfect game. I'm more than understanding that. I know Sancho's got skills, and I would much rather him, try things and make mistakes and do that. It's not the overall quality that's concerning me the most, and what's frustrating me, and I don't think you can bring age into this, is attitude. And I'm not saying he's got like a horrible attitude or anything like that, but surely it's being pointed out to him that you are not tracking back, you are shirking tackles, you're not going into 50-50s. I don't want someone in my team that's bottling 50-50s. I don't want someone in my team that can't be bothered running back when the other team are through on goal. That isn't anything to do with skill, that's just purely down to attitude. And I look, for example, Grealish wasn't having the best season at Man City. He's obviously worked with Pep, and he's obviously brilliant going forward, but his attitude's spot on. He's going in to win everything, he's tracking back, he's doing the right things. I want to see Sancho doing the right things. Also, I'm sorry to say, but when you're on 350 grand a week, you can't pull the age card.
That's why you have to look,
you've got to be able to
some
perform.
return, don't you?
When you're in a team where everybody else is putting 100% in, you have no choice but to up your level. That's what Vidic says, in podcasts. That's what Ferdinand says. Evra says that. All of these players say it. You look at Jadon Sancho and think you've got the likes of Casemiro in your squad, Varane. You're numerous Champions League winners. You've spent time with Cristiano. You've got Bruno Fernandes, who's a top captain. You've got a very good David De Gea, right? Very good squad, senior players around you. Aren't you looking at them and saying, I need to do better just with my career? Don't do it. Don't do it for the team. Don't do it for the fans. Do it for yourself. What do you, Jadon Sancho, stand for? Do it for your family. Do it for yourself, because you can play for whichever club. I'm sure Jadon Sancho, after Manchester United, if he gets sold, he'll play for another big club, sure. Yeah. But you have to do it for yourself. Top players, they take games under their own control and they make things happen. And he has that ability, but it just seems like he's just, in all honesty, I hate to say it, but he just seems like he's not interested. He's just not interested to play football.
It really is a concern.
I don't know. How are you telling me when Casemiro's getting red cards for someone who's just touched his colleague, and Bruno's there, busting his gut every game. Martinez is getting injured, flying tackles. David De Gea is making physics-defying saves. Marcus Rashford is scoring so many goals. Garnacho is worked his backside off and got a contract. Luke Shaw has done amazing. Wan-Bissaka's transformed himself. You're in this environment, and you're looking at all of this and you're saying, what am I doing then? What am I doing?
At least don't
An 18-year-old is coming up and making people get off from their seat. What am I doing? Have some ego about you, and you have to have that chip on your shoulder and go and play like that.
Well, that's the worry. For the money Manchester United have outlaid on him, the wages, whatever. It wasn't long ago, I sat here and said, in front of him at the moment, I'd have Garnacho, Palestri excites me more. I'm looking at Ahmad pulling up trees at Sunderland, and I'm thinking, even if he come back to Manchester United, there might be a bit more excitement. It's concerning, it really is. The only person that can solve this is the man there.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move on quickly to round up the end of the show. I do think, next season is make or break for Sancho. He'll get another season, and it is make or break. I expect him to come into that season with the attitude that I want to be a Man United player and to prove that to everyone. But a couple of super chats before we move on. We've got thoughts on Lindelof the go. He did play really, really well today. Rashford has played way more games than Sancho though. Fair enough, he does assist, but we can't say it's his strong suit. No, his strong suit's scoring goals. And then another super chat in saying Summer, Neymar, Thuram, Casido, Kim Min-jae and a goalkeeper. I mean, not under this Glazer ownership, I'm afraid to say. And plus, I don't think that's because Neymar's not the type of profile I'd be looking at. Brilliant player, but not the right profile. And Joy Wrighton says, United's heritage is to attack for 90 minutes. And Neo says, Erik ten Hag got it wrong when he took Martial out, Garnacho in, Sancho out. Sancho, I'm not going to say that, what you just said there at the end. Neo says, Erik ten Hag, just repeated that one. And we've got Wayne List, so many games, 1 day rest, 1 day training, 1 day game repeat. Where does Erik ten Hag implement his style? Give it another pre-season and we'll start to see it. That's a good point, to be fair to you. And then we've got Camilo 10 saying, why are our standards so low? Bruno is poor in possession. And Keel Robson TV, Ricky is right, our standards are low. So thank you everyone for your super chats. Hope I got to all of them there. But Faz, quickly, we're going to talk about the defensive line. So we'll talk about Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Lindelof, Varane all together. Are you happy with their games?
Yeah, I am. I think Lindelof has been absolutely amazing. I did mention a couple of shows ago that I wonder if Lindelof is playing to stay in Manchester United or to leave Manchester United, because I remember saying, in international duty, he mentioned he's going to think about his future. But what's very surprising is he's decided to stick with this back line of Luke Shaw and Lindelof and not use the most expensive centre-back. And it's worked so well. It's worked absolutely fantastic. It's a testament to both the players that they were not the issue. The back line was never the issue. It was this one particular individual who's now not in the starting 11, and rightfully so. But I think what makes me wonder is, do we now consider keeping Lindelof? I think he's rightfully earned his position in Manchester United, and he's always in the right spot, in the right area, trying to clear the ball. And obviously you have a partner like Luke Shaw, who is absolutely amazing today. He was absolutely amazing. Defensively, attackingly, first touch, control, passing, everything you could ask for from him. He's done it so well. I'm very, very happy. I just do have a little bit of concern from Bissaka's side, not defensively, of course, but just attacking output needs to be more. I just need more of an attack, because I almost feel like the ball is too much on one side and too concentrated on one side when it comes to attack. And either it's the middle or through Luke Shaw and that channel. We need more of an attacking, going forward, threat from Bissaka's side. And I hope he can improve this going forward in next season.
I disagree with you. I think I still like to see more output. I love fullbacks that can, get the ball in the box and can contribute going forward. I think we need more output for sure, but I think Wan-Bissaka's coming into the midfield, making nice touches. He's linking up with Anthony really well, I think. I mean, they didn't pay off, but he's put some really nice cutbacks into the box today. I think he's definitely improving that area.
Yeah, he is. That's what I said. Hopefully next season he can build on it.
Yeah, I mean, like what you said with Lindelof, I think he has to stay and it has to be Maguire to leave. I feel like I'm always talking to you, Kev, about this.
Set me up lovely, haven't you?
But I mean, I saw Mark say that Luke Shaw has to play left-sided centre-back for the cup final on his watch-along before the game kicked off. And I actually disagreed, because I think Lindelof and Varane have to play for the cup final, and we have to have Luke Shaw as left-back. What are your thoughts?
Well, barring any injuries, I would say that's exactly how Ten Hag's looking at it, because he obviously feels that he needs to get a settled back four, which is exactly what's happening at this moment in time. So touch wood, no injuries, and I would go with that. I think Faz is spot on about Lindelof. You've just got to be impressed at the way that he stepped up. And again, it does come down to the fact, I'll say the name, Harry Maguire, because he breeds uncertainty at the back, right? You could play even Lisandro Martinez with him. It wouldn't make him any less of a player, but you know for a fact that Martinez has to be more switched on, knowing that he's babysitting Harry Maguire. You take Harry Maguire out that team, you put Lindelof with whoever it is, and Lindelof looks a total different animal altogether. He's been brilliant towards the end of the season, and yeah, it does say a lot for a player that Manchester United spent so much money on, club captain, whatever. Thank God it's coming to the end, because we've got a few games left of it, and hopefully somebody can take him on.
Well, West Ham look interested at the moment. I mean, Ricky, the back line, I know you like Dallo, but are you happy with Wan-Bissaka still?
Wan-Bissaka's playing very well, and as far as Lindelof is concerned, I've always defended him. Always used to say he was a good player. Like I used to say about Matt Tominey and Fred, Matt Tominey's okay. People get labelled together, and I think sometimes it's undeserved. Lindelof was a good player before. He's still a good player now, and you know, I think obviously he's got to play in the cup final. Martinez isn't going to be fit, so he'll play anyway. The thing about Lindelof and Shaw playing at centre-back that Mark said, who's going to play at left-back, Malacia or Dalot? I'd go Dalot first. I really would. Malacia has some great games, but when he has a bad game, it's really bad.
Luke Shaw has to play left-back.
At left-back, I agree.
And Lindelof and Varane have to play centre-back, in my opinion.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, that's the defence all talked about. I think, you know, again, including David De Gea made some really, really good saves. I do have to say that he did. And, you know, 1-0 is always a risky scoreline. You're relying on your defence, and that's exactly what we did. But before we round up the show, let's talk about man of the match. So, Faz, I'll come to you.
Has to be Luke Shaw. Has to be Luke Shaw. Overall, really, really good performance. Very tidy. And again, just have to mention it. He got his new contract, and yet he's still performing at such high level. Players seem to go on holiday mode once they get a new contract, and he clearly hasn't. So yeah, Luke Shaw. And you mentioned today, I think you said, a lot of the players didn't perform well, the team didn't perform well, Bruno didn't perform well. But you know, Luke Shaw, even when the team doesn't perform well, Luke Shaw figures out a way to perform well. He does. So yeah, Luke Shaw, man of the match.
Yeah, I mean, Kev?
I was actually going to go for the goal scorer, not just because he scored, Casemiro. I thought he was getting back to his best. It gives me a little bit of hope looking forward, you know, to the cup final. He is a man who's going to have to be on it. Do you know? I'm going to stick with Casemiro.
Casemiro?
Purely for how he broke up play, and the goal was incredible. That was instinctive. It really was. Weghorst couldn't even. If he could buy, yeah, you could only dream of scoring a goal like that. Have that, Ricky.
All the back four and Casemiro and Eriksen all played really well. All of them. And then the other four players all had bits of struggles at times. I thought all the back four, Casemiro and Eriksen were all excellent. And I wouldn't disagree with either of your two shouts, both good shouts, but I'll probably just about go for Lindelof.
Interestingly enough, I was literally picking between them three and obviously Wan-Bissaka as well, but I'll probably go with Luke Shaw. I thought Luke Shaw was excellent. And you know what? It's like I tweeted the other day about Luke Shaw. You know, we've got contenders for player of the season. I think everyone keeps talking about Bruno, Martinez, Rashford and Casemiro. They're the four names that keep going around. Even Man United are tweeting pictures of them four saying, you know, it's going to be a tough one of who's player of the season. And Luke Shaw's been being completely overlooked. Am I saying he should necessarily win it? I mean, he's definitely up there. He has to be in the conversation. And, you know, I get the usual suspects. I'm not going to give him air time on here because that's exactly what they want, coming in saying, Beth, Luke Shaw's terrible. I'm like, do you even watch?
What?
You can't watch football if you...
I'll tell you after the show. Comments under every...
Luke Shaw, terrible.
Comments...
Whoever says that to you, they might as well start watching a different sport.
He didn't. I don't think he said terrible. I think he said he's just not good enough or something like that. And I just think, he's just...
Luke Shaw's probably one of the best controllers of the ball in our team.
No, some of the consistent
fantastic.
players for Man United.
The way he controls the ball is
fantastic.
unreal. It's actually unreal for a left back how he manages any like ball in the air, ball on the floor,
So
any type
strong
of pass.
as well. He nudges people off the ball so
Very good.
easily. And it's just
Very
different class.
Yeah,
different gravy.
Different gravy. One of the most consistent performers for Man United. And just before the show ends, I wanted to talk a little bit about Chelsea on Thursday. Second to last home game of the season. Chelsea, we all know the way that they've been this season. I feel like it's gone even slightly under the radar, actually, how terrible they've been. But, you know, you never count a team with that quality of players quite out. We need at least a point. I mean, Ricky, are you confident?
Yeah, I'm confident we'll get. I'm certainly confident we'll get a point out of 2 games. But I'd like to get it done Thursday night. I think we'll probably win. I think we'll probably win on Thursday night.
You'd think so at home. Home has been a bit of a fortress since the opening day of the season, hasn't it, Kev? I mean, are you expecting a good game?
Yeah, I am. It'd just be typical of Chelsea, wouldn't it? Just to turn up, on Thursday night and be at the races and look well up for it. I suppose that's what comes with rivalry in football. You know, they're not going to come and roll over, are they? But like Ricky says, I'm a bit more happier today because we have to take 1 point from 2 home games. And Old Trafford has been a fortress this season. And now if it was the other way around and we had 2 away games and we had to take a point from, it'd be a lottery, wouldn't it? You'd be looking and thinking, if we had to play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, you know, it does make a bit of a difference.
Well,
but yeah, the fact we've got 2 home games and United have been brilliant. And I said it the other week, didn't I? Next season going on, it's on the road that we need to sort this form out because it's been absolutely shocking.
We need to sort our form out on the road, and we need to sort our manipulation of the ball around the field to try and open teams up rather than worrying about a particular individual's got so many assists.
And a number 9 that scores goals and out.
I was going to say, well,
it's got to be. I'd like all the teams to pass the ball around better so that we end up opening teams up. It could be, it could be Wan-Bissaka who gets the ball across and gets an assist, or Luke Shaw by the team working the ball well, like City do, and get the full backs in behind. Or whoever
I do agree with that.
Or
take,
whoever
really.
it might be.
We're not patient.
We do need to play better football.
We're not patient enough.
We do need to play better football, but Rashi might be back on Thursday. It's winding you up. Fan, you confident?
Against Chelsea, I think Chelsea will look to maybe prove a point by beating Manchester United and finishing their season strong because they have had an atrocious season. I call them OnlyFans FC. Because of the sheer amount of money that's just been spent by their sugar daddy, it's funny. But I don't think we won't get 1 point in 2 games. I'm more so leaning towards finishing this off in the Fulham game. You just don't know what Man United turns up. It's just the home form that I kind of rely on. Hold on to. But. Yeah, we should do the job. It was a draw, wasn't it? In the first time we faced them in Stamford Bridge. But yeah, hoping the home form will take us over and we can celebrate. And Ricky will buy all of us drinks. Because seems like Ricky only buys you drinks. So I just want to put that out there.
You're never here when we go for drinks, Faz.
Never get invited.
Well, maybe stick around and not always be on your phone then. Anyway, poll going up, United stand. The poll says that Jadon Sancho, keep or sell. 54% sell, 46% keep. It's a close one. Definitely keep for next season. Give him next season and hopefully he can come good. As we said, he's got it in him. Whether Ten Hag can get it out will be interesting to see. But lastly, before we go, actual score prediction quickly for Chelsea.
1.6 goals. I think it'll be against Chelsea. It should be 3-0. We should be able to handle them. They've been really bad this season.
I said this before, it makes me laugh when we always only win by 1 goal and then people always score. It's like, Adam predicted today before Bournemouth, 4-0. I was like, what makes you think that? We can't score.
The group chat was going on.
I know, I was like, what? Where have you pulled that from? Kev?
I think I'll go for 2-0. We've got to be confident. Like I say, because it's at Old Trafford.
We score so few goals, whether Marcus is playing or not. And I've said many, many times that we score 1.6 a game. It's actually down to 1.5 a game at the moment. And Marcus...
He's got tabs on it.
Marcus has missed 3 games.
Did you just calculate this in your head?
Marcus has missed 3 games recently, 3 league games. If we beat Chelsea 1-0, just 1-0 on Thursday night, that will be 6 goals in 4 games, which is exactly 1.5 goals a game. Why people say we miss him when he's not there is beyond me. So I'm going for 1-0, and it will be 1.5 goals a game across the 4 games that he's missed, if he doesn't play.
I'm going to go 2-0 on the back of that. And also a little update, half-time, 1-0 Forest, 45 minutes from safety, and also 45 minutes from Man City winning the league, which is a bit of a downer on what could be a
absolute
day where...
sickener.
Yeah. Manchester United must beat Manchester City on June 3rd.
Don't.
Absolutely must. It's our surname, it's our DNA, and most importantly, Sir Alex is still alive. His legacy and what he's built with this organisation cannot be touched by our neighbour. Imagine being in Tesco and you're scanning beep, and guy next to you has a Man City shirt on.
This is
and
what
I've got
people
this.
from-
I have to turn this inside out.
This is what I feel like, you know, Cockney Reds don't understand this as much. Like, obviously, you can support Man United from wherever you are, but I think, you know, when you're from, you know, other places other than Manchester, Man City, you know, we actually see City fans, and it is disappointing.
That's
but
the
My neighbour's a
thing,
City
yeah.
fan. Can't
But
stand him.
anyway, the last couple of super chats to round up the show. Taj Murphy says, them people saying about Shaw are you, Beth, but with David. Interesting take. Anthony Tracy, Ricky wants possession by having our Cam play deeper than Bruno. Eric Ten Hag wants our defenders to step out and push into midfield to dominate possession. We have to push up. Camilio says, why? And that's everything, actually. That's everything from the show. And lastly, to finish it off, David Hay has got the Golden Glove, and he did say it's a team effort, so you were right. Faz, you were wrong on that one.
They were going to say that anyways, aren't they?
Cliche saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, everyone, we are 1 point away from Champions League football. Hopefully we get that on Thursday at Old Trafford. And what a brilliant season it's been coming to a close. There's been ups, there's been downs, but it doesn't matter how you win at this point as long as you do win. And that's exactly what Man United did today. Ricky, Kev and Faz, thank you so much for being on the forum. And lastly, before you go, as you can see, all of our beautiful, brilliant kits here, 100% genuine, and you can get yours at retrofootballkits.co.uk. 10% off site-wide and TUS 10 for an extra 10% off, which is basically 20%. So make sure you go over there and look through. There's thousands of shirts on there that you can look through and go and purchase. So thank you everyone for sticking with us and sticking with us on the forum. Make sure you like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a brilliant rest of your weekend, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.